The current pandemic has completely disrupted how businesses operate. Businesses have had to relook at, not only on their strategy aspect of it, but also how do they build a capacity with respect to their employees so that they are all future ready. And one such tool, which is really helping a lot of businesses out there, is the OKR concept. So today I have with me Mukom Tamon. He heads capacity building at AFRINIC, and he's going to be talking to us today on why businesses should be looking at OKRs as a way forward. So Mukom, thanks for being a part of this show. Really excited to have you here today.
Thank you, Dr. Karthik.
So Mukom, tell us a brief about what do you see as the role of OKRs for a future-ready organization. I'm sure a lot of organizations have started adopting it, but some of them still don't have clarity on how should they go about doing it. So why is it so important to start on this journey of adopting OKRs?
Thank you for that question. So to answer that, I'm going to go back to one of my models around excellence, because most of what excellence is one of my personal values, and that's what I bring to work. That's what I bring to work for myself and my teams. And so my simple model for excellence is effectiveness plus efficiency plus agility. Those are the three things that determine excellence, right? And so the effectiveness part, you can think of it as direction. The efficiency part, you can think of it as speed. And the agility part, you can think of it as flexibility to change, to adapt to realities, right? OKRs are one of the best tools for the effectiveness of the direction, for setting direction. Because once you set a direction, combined with the culture of, we can set a direction, track a couple of metrics, leading or lagging indicators. And if they're not working with you to that direction, using OKRs, you're directly influencing two of those three dimensions of excellence. That is the effectiveness with the direction component and the agility or flexibility component.
Okay. Very, very interesting. A very simple formula, but it kind of hits the nail on the head on what exactly this is. I read in your, I think, email signature where it said learn 20% of OKRs which deliver 80% results. So that was very interesting. It caught my attention. So what exactly and how do you achieve that with 20%? How do you achieve 80%?
So here's the thing. Understanding OKRs is really easy. The hard part is putting it into practice. Because quite simply, OKRs, in my opinion, are nothing more than multidimensional goals. I'll give you the example of what I mean by multidimensional goal.
Sure.
Reality is not just multidimensional. So, for example, your health as a person is not just your weight. Your health is your weight, is your cardiovascular fitness, but it's also the level of hormones in your body or the amount of stress as measured by cortisol.
Correct.
So if you take the single dimensional approach, which is what you have, we'll say SMART goals or KPIs so fast, then you say, to become healthy, let me reduce my weight from 100 kgs to 70 to 90 kgs. But the multidimensional approach, which is what I love about OKRs, and this is how it really aligns with the balanced scorecard is. Your health is not just, you want to reduce your weight and make sure that the amount of cortisol in your blood is at the right level, as well as your cardiovascular fitness, because you could be at that 60 kilograms of weight and still be unhealthy.
Correct.
So these concepts are quite easy for anyone to understand, which is why I say
the 20% which
concepts, that provides the 80. Because once you understand this concept of OKR, it's a multidimensional goal that represents a strategic objective and a couple of practices for implementing them day by day, then the only way you can go is up. Just be consistent, and the only way you can go is up from there.
That's a very beautiful example. It so beautifully explains that you need to take that holistic approach when you're looking at a progress or a growth. But one challenge probably would be, how do you get the buy-in, right? So especially for managers and leaders, because it's a cultural mindset shift which is needed. because they've been used to a top-down approach of defining what the employees should be doing, whereas this looks a more collaborative piece. So how do you address that mindset shift which is needed from managers and leaders?
That's a very beautiful question. And I saw someone put a quote, it's probably Christina Wodke. She says, OKRs are a vitamin, not a meal, right? And OKRs will not fix what organizational dysfunction has left, right? So OKRs work best when the basic infrastructure, what I call team excellence, already exists. So, for example, the issue of buy-in is this: once executives start focusing on outcomes and impact and not activities, once they understand that, okay, whether it is agile, everyone's talking about trust. If they go beyond the theory and say, I trust this manager to deliver X, sit and have the conversation with that manager. How the manager accomplishes it should not be a problem of the executive. And I'm lucky that at my day job, that was exactly what happened. I mean, all my bosses have always trusted me. So when I implemented OKRs, I did not ask anyone's opinion. The rest of the company is trying to adopting OKRs because they saw the example that I and my team all were able to accomplish with it. Right. So that trust already existed there, right? I earned it over a long period of delivering value as someone who tries to improve and all of that. So when I say, you know what, okay, I'm going to take, the company strategy already exists. If a company strategy exists, there isn't an executive who is worth their name, that name executive, who will shut down a manager who comes and says, you know what, this is the strategic objective that I and my team are going to try and deliver over the next 1 year. Our approach to doing this is that we're going to take it and use OKRs as a framework for cascading it down to our team level and delivering it early.
Okay.
Every quarter, you and I will meet and say, okay, are we there? I can show you concrete evidence that we're actually making progress towards meeting the strategic objective. There isn't, any executive who wants to insist, no, you have to do it this way, you really have to fire them because they have no business being an executive.
True.
Yeah. So the buy-in thing is really about trust. And if you actually have to tell, you know what, this is one way, because if you go back to the OKRs, essentially about strategy execution. Right? If you read, from Harvard Business Review, all of the management literature, one of the biggest problems has always been everyone thinks we have this perfect strategy, but that no one has a clue about.
Correct.
So you can tell any executive, finally, there's this tool called OKRs, which I can use to ensure that from the VP to the receptionist, they understand how the company's strategic objectives apply to them.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is one way to get the buy-in. And then I can pretty much guarantee at the end of, rather than wait to the end of the year to say I nailed it or I failed, I can show you progress every quarter. I can give you some kind of worthwhile indications that we're making progress towards achieving the target that is good for the company and for you. And that's how you set it.
Okay, interesting. So you also coach a lot of people on how to take OKRs and implement in their organization, and you would have also, in your journey, implemented it across wherever you've been operating. So what are some learnings which you've got, and maybe a couple of them that you would like to share with us?
I've actually written a couple of this. So if you follow me on our tweet on at Perfect Excellence on Twitter, you see a couple of this. The very first mistake I see is this. Before you start creating OKRs, clarify the context, the operational context of the team. I created a tool which I call the CPAN for Koi Canvas. It's simply like, in a 1 hour exercise, everyone can be on the same page as to what exactly we mean when we say, what does this team do? What results is it responsible for? Like, what activities does it do? Who are its partners, etc. Because once you have that context, what I'm using, for example, the SIP and Pokoi Canvas, then you are in a position to begin to list out the metrics that matter. Right? And once you have these metrics, that is a good basis, a realistic basis for creating OKRs. So that's the first thing. Before you create OKRs, clarify context in the SIP and the core canvas. I'll show you an example of it later on. Secondly, after you've created the OKRs, do what I call activate them. Because, it can be exhilarating once you go for an offsite, you spend 1 week or 2 days, now you have these perfect OKRs and everyone celebrates, yay, we got it, right? But the thing is that to gain any kind of credibility, you still need to deliver on those OKRs, right? It means that you need to identify the activities, whether it is processes or projects that need to be done. You need to identify the budgeting support that you need, things that you need to buy, resources that you need. And also, if you're in the company, what other teams support you need? Because only when for each key result, for example, you've listed, the required activities, the budgeting requirements, and the other teams that you might need, whose support you might need. Only then do you create alignment for the OKR to succeed. So 2 things: before, clarify context, and after, you do clarification. So I've got 2 tools that I created and used for this. I'll display them to you. Yeah.
That's very nicely put. So I see that one, there is a mindset aspect to adopting OKRs. You need to get that right understanding and the trust factor, and those aspects are there. There are also a lot of things which need to be kept track of, which is, like you said, it's not just about defining beautiful OKRs and say, yeah, we've got the OKRs in place, but it's also how you're implementing it and tracking it to ensure that that's happening in a systematic manner. And there I see technology and apps, platforms playing the huge role. So what's your thoughts on how you think technology will further accelerate OKR adoption for success?
So I have a very almost controversial position on this, and which is going to be funny because I'm saying it considering what you guys do as UpRaise. My first advice, my advice I give every single team is this: the first time you do OKRs, do not use a tool, especially if you're not already using one. See, now I can say this at the same time while saying that my tool of choice is UpRaise, and I started by using UpRaise. I used UpRaise after first 3 months. It's simply because on my team, we've always had the infrastructure. We had that culture of we use Jira for every single thing. Therefore, UpRaise was this add-on where we could put our goals and link our tasks. So if the team already has that culture of we use tools to do our work, whether Jira or something else, right, then it might be easy to say, fine, let's start with the tool. But generally, I would say, don't use the tool. The reason I say don't use the tool is because if you're trying to teach people to use the tool, OKRs in practice, to put them into practice is quite hard by itself. Right? And so you're trying to do 2 things at the same time. You're trying to get people to understand the essence of OKRs and how to put it into practice. And then put in another layer of complexity. Oh, there's this tool that you have to go and log in, and then your tasks are somewhere else. It just becomes a mess. Right? So I would say do OKRs using pen, paper, Excel sheet, whatever, for at least 2 to 3 quarters. Once you get that, then you try and integrate it into your tools. And for me, an important characteristic is this: I would choose an OKR tool that is a 7 or 9 if it integrates with the existing tools that the team already uses, than to pick the perfect OKR tool that is another platform I have to log in, right? And I'll say, okay, this is, of course, you're not paying me to say this. This is why I chose UpRaise. I looked a couple of things, right? It was right there. I could put it into Jira at the time. And one of the things that my team does as part of our weekly planning is that, when you do our plans for the week and when people write their reports, they literally attach Jira issues as actions to UpRaise key results. And, pretty much we know that, I can look at it and say, okay, fine, this person, we are on track to hit this key result, and it's okay now. So to use technology, the role of technology is to scale. While you're starting, for the first I'll say half year to 1 year, don't use technology. But after that, you absolutely need technology because you can't scale without technology. Correct. Technology brings 2 things: ability to scale, but also history, which enables to have better conversations about more effective OKRs up in the future.
Correct, correct. Look, in fact, it's very nice that you brought up that point, because a lot of organizations might think that, if we have to go the OKR route, let's quickly bring in a tool and I think we'll be able to get a hang of it. But actually, it's about investing in laying those fundamentals and the foundations right first, and then you bring the layer of technology to take it to the next level. That's very nice. Now, if I look at it from the employee perspective, how do you get the employee buy-in in using OKRs? Because right now they may be under the impression that, okay, so far we had KPIs, KRAs, NDOs, all those have come into picture, and that's how I was evaluated. Now they're bringing in one more aspect. So is this something which is going to penalize me further for my performance? Hence, I'm a bit apprehensive whether I should be using OKRs or no. So how do organizations get the employee buy-in to use OKRs and move that journey with them?
But this is actually a tough question, because the standard knowledge going around the community is that you should not use OKRs for performance appraisals. While I agree with that, I also see that that's not going to last for too long, because that is going to be, unless we as a community of OKR practitioners resolve this issue, OKRs are going to fail. Because you're saying OKRs are about to be supposed to be about the most high priority things that a team or company are working on. So you put OKRs here, and then you say, oh, by the way, there's this other thing I'm going to assess you on, which is different from your OKRs. As a human being, which one do you expect them to pay attention to? Yes. Not OKR. Right. So while on the surface, you should not use OKRs for performance appraisals. That's number one. We must find a way to align them. Yeah. And I think one of the things that I've been playing with is the idea of doing calibration, right? So I try to measure someone's effort, and because I'm one of those people who believe that just like I said, excellence is more habit than anything else. Right? If you consistently, take the health example. If you wake up, consistently running, 30 minutes a day, and you're consistently lifting weights, you are going to lose weight. If you're consistently staying away from sugar, your blood sugar is going to be okay, right? So you might want to consider appraising people on the consistent effort they put, the genuine consistent effort they put in achieving the OKRs. That way you've aligned them. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. And that means that a lot more work for the managers. Right? Yes. The manager, so you see, what it means to become a good manager becomes really, really important. It's about the continuous feedback. It's about the coaching. It's about making sure that don't reward luck, because once you do that, the continuous feedback, you're doing coaching. Then if someone puts in their best effort and you were there as a manager, being present, seeing them, giving feedback, giving them coaching, and we don't hit the OKR, you know that the effort was right, and you know that if they do it, it's just a matter of time, they will win. Rather than the person where you just set some goal, forget at the end of the quarter, you just they succeeded. How exactly? So that's important.
I think that's a very valuable point. Very valuable point.
The second point is this: I believe that every employee wants to experience excellence. Every single employee, right? Of course, you might call me naive, right? But I believe that everyone who joins a company from day one, they really want to do something that matters. Every time you see an employee who has given up, it's simply because they don't want to be hurt, right? Maybe they've tried to do something good, they've not gotten the support, they've been punished, etc. But the thing is, every employee fundamentally wants to do excellent work that matters.
Correct.
Sell OKRs to them. This is how you deliver work that matters.
Okay.
This is how you deliver work that matters. Yeah. And then it is not going to be up to someone's subjective opinion. Right? Once you use OKRs, you know what? This is, I did something that matters. Here are the results. It's no longer up to the boss's opinion or your colleague's opinion, which is what we have today.
I think that's a very beautiful point, that each employee wants to excel. And as a manager, it's about how do you empower them using OKRs. And constantly walk that journey with them, to give that continuous feedback and coach them, so that ultimately, whether the OKRs have been met or no, you at least know that the complete effort was there. And hence that kind of builds the trust factor also with the employee, to say that, yeah, irrespective of what's there, if I'm giving my 100% and my manager is there by my side, so yeah, I can use OKR as a tool to excel and reach the goal that I want. So Mukom, thanks a lot once again for those valuable insights which you shared. I'm sure a lot of organizations which are grappling with this OKR challenge, or who are contemplating on how should they be going about it, will definitely have some wonderful insights here. Thanks once again for your time, and looking forward to continuing this conversation with you in future as well.
Thank you, Dr. Karthik, and good luck with the research. I'm looking forward to seeing the report.
Thank you.